Hey everybody, it's Eric Balance coming to you with the Resilient Minds podcast, where I feature beautiful entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and experts in their field, where they help us discover their X factor, their experience of life, only to discover how they were able to accomplish and find out their Y factor, their big why, their purpose in life. So join me as we get to discover the beauty of our minds and how can we really continue to go after the biggest and most wildest dreams while we continue to pursue and manifest our greatest intelligence that comes from the heart. Also, if you haven't, go check out the new alignment course that I've created at www.ericbalance.com/alignment, ALIGNMENT. See you on the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Resilient Minds podcast. I'm excited today because we're sitting down with another amazing thought leader, evolutionary coach focused on human consciousness, and we always have a great conversation. Zoran, a friend, dear friend from Ibiza. How do I pronounce your last name properly? Because I can say
Todorovic.
Todorovic.
Yes. It's one of these like very difficult to roll down your tongue, but then it gets really exciting at the end. Todorovic.
Zoran Todorovic, thank you, brother, for coming on. It's good to see you again. I had the pleasure of jumping on your podcast not too while back. It was a great, amazing conversation. And let's continue this amazing flow because I just wanted to really bring this beautiful essence that you bring to the table, that what you're creating in the world, how you're really allowing people around you to evolve, you're holding space for them. And this is what a really great, amazing leader does. So share a little bit about what you're currently up to, and then let's flow into it, man.
Well, there's so many things going on in life right now for everybody. I think that life is beautifully intense, as we can say, and beautifully challenging, but also unraveling so many things that we need to address and work with in our own life to support this global transformation and global evolution. So for me, I have been always passionate about that. My core passion is how to enable humanity to become the best possible version of itself, one individual at a time. And how I've done it in the past many, many years is through the methodology that we call evolutionary coaching, and getting people to really connect deeper with themselves, understand who they are, understand their inner wiring, their inner matrix, understand how to transform that inner matrix inside out, and also to become empowered to be a completely and totally sovereign human being, understanding that we create and co-create our own reality. So when we get all of that and we put this into practice, then we can not only create the life of our dreams or create the business of our dreams or relationships of our dreams, but also contribute in creating the society, the economy, the transformation that we are looking for in the world right now. So that's a little bit about myself.
I think, has this been always something that excited you since you were like a little boy? Has this been something that has always like dug deep inside you? Because there's a lot of resonance in what you're sharing as you're speaking about it. It's like, yeah, I know, like that was something like when I was kind of. So was there like something within you that you needed to go deeper within to identify for yourself, to say, hey, this is actually something definitely that I need to discover so that I can then therefore go and offer it to others?
Yeah. So I knew about the term starseed for a very long time, but I never really understood what starseed really means, and also what the activated starseed really means. And what I grew to understand from my own life is that there is a group of people, maybe all of us, maybe certain people, who are born onto this planet with a specific purpose and mission in activation of human consciousness and supporting the human consciousness to get to the next level of its evolution. And those people are called starseeds. So when I was a little boy, I always had that memory deeper within me. I always knew that I'm here to do something bigger. I'm here to do something for humanity. I didn't know what is that going to be at that moment in time, but there was always this deeper feeling, but also deeper longing, inside of myself to be able to do this.
Mm.
And like all activated star seeds, in order for us to be able to fully empathize with the current state of affairs, you create life full of challenges. So I remember when I was little, I was thinking, oh my God, why am I in this family? What's going on here? Why is it so challenging and difficult? I don't resonate with certain things. With certain things I resonate. There are certain obstacles, challenges. So through initiation, through my very early ages, I really went through difficult times in order for me to get more into the empathy and compassion and full understanding of what humanity is going through right now, to be able to use that later on in my life and support and help. So to answer that question to you, I always knew it was hidden within me, and it was activated throughout my life.
Mm. And does it continue to evolve to a new, like, emerging kind of alchemy as you continue to make your work or see your visions or create the reality that you already like really discovered inside of you?
Yeah, it's kind of molding and growing. It's a very organic process. It changes all the time. I think that certain principles of the purpose within me, for example, within all star seeds. So I'm just talking on behalf of everybody who is feeling that what I'm saying. And most of the time, star seeds feel awkward. They feel they don't belong. They feel they come from somewhere else. They don't understand the systems. They see to the crack of the system. They know we need to improve. They know we need to change. There's always this need that we have as star seeds to embetter something. And that need is organic. It keeps on shifting and changing, in our co-creation. So for me, of course, it was always an ongoing new emerging. So what I was doing like 5 years ago, it's different to what I'm doing right now. And what I'm going to do probably next 5 years is going to become something completely different. But I think that's exciting because it's real life. It's real life, jamming session when you're playing your instrument without following the notes and saying this is predetermined composition, but you're able to improvise in jazz. Yeah. And for me, until I figured that one out, it was challenging because I felt I was improvising all the time. It was like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm improvising all the time, and something new will come my way. And then I would adapt my methodology, or I would adapt my modality to meet that expectation. But then I understand, no, this is exactly how it needs to be. I have skills that I need to bring, and I need to be able to improvise and adapt myself, jazz it up a little bit, show up, and then do it in the most beautiful way. So it does change all the time.
I love how you really painted that picture. And I think it's very important for people to identify with it a little bit more deeper. So this is something that really, what I'm hearing, it's very much about like being this musician or artist of your own life, and allow the adventure and the magic to kind of be co-created by just allowing and holding the space for yourself, knowing that you have this gift of creating, a solution or creating an opportunity so that you can succeed by like trusting in yourself really a lot. Am I hearing this correctly?
Absolutely. And then not having this imposter syndrome that we don't think that we know what we're doing because it's consistently changing, but moving beyond that and knowing that that's consistent change, it's absolutely creating that new alchemy that we all need to display at a given moment in time.
I love it, man. I think for anybody that's listening, it'd be really important, or maybe you can give an example of some kind of an experience that maybe you had personally experienced, of like, hey, the structured societal circumstance, was giving you these kind of current experiences where you didn't resonate, you didn't make sense. And then what did it feel like, or what did it look like for you to say, hey, what am I going to do to really kind of take, not control, but allow myself to build the necessary certainty around the space?
Yeah.
that make sense? Is
Yeah.
that question kind of
Of
clear?
course, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just kind of answer it through a different point of view. So, when I
Please.
had, challenging, this circumstances in my life, people call it dark night of the soul, or when something really difficult happens,
Mhm.
then you go into that space of, ambiguity and not knowing. And then that forces you to connect back to God or source or universe, however you want to call it. And at that moment in time in my life, I was connecting to that, and I was asking, what is my next thing in life? And it came to me that I need to work in the business, specifically within corporate culture at that moment in time. And for me, it was like, me in a business, why would I do this? It's such a rigid environment. I don't really like and enjoy the structure of the business that time. But this need and this knowing was like, you need to work in the business. So when I started working within the business, I completely understood that the structure that we have had at that time, even nowadays, was obsolete, not really serving people, not really enabling people to be the best possible version of themselves. And a lot of people were struggling. So at that time, I understood, okay, so my purpose within that context was to show up as new and to keep on working alongside with people who were willing enough in the business to evolve, to create a different business paradigm, and then collaborate to make it happen, right? So even though I did not like what I saw, I did not enjoy being in all the meetings, when people are talking about strategy and money and greed and profit margin and increasing profit margin on the expense of other people or planet or, circumstances that we all see. I was there with that deeper knowledge that me being there is actually catalyzing that new movement for the business to become its service to humanity. So then I understood. I said, okay, so I need to be here. But the big transformational breakthrough for me, Eric, was that I understood at that moment in time that I need to be in service to others instead of only in service to myself. So of course I can be in service to myself, get attended to my needs, to my financial needs, to my, whatever I needed to do at that moment in time. But the bigger game was selfless service to others. And then once when you're surrendering to that, then it begins to become a little bit more fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it becomes actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, did it start to become, because you were actually just in the room, the conversation even shifted, because knowing that you have these principles focused so much on human awareness and, integrity, really bringing those principle based values, like from a deep internal need. It actually didn't require you saying much. It was just by your presence that you were actually offering so much of the space.
Exactly. And that was a great teacher and a great trainer for me, that presence that you're talking about, because sometimes we underestimate the importance of our presence and our beingness within the room. Because if we don't say something, we feel that we're not adding value, right? So we need to be intelligent, we need to be smart, we need to come up with a solution, or we need to come up with a strategy, we need to comment. But as a matter of fact, for me, it was exactly that, being present in that room, sometimes just being silent and just listening and nodding, and saying, yeah, I hear you, yeah. But that energy of the breakthrough transformation, the space holding for the evolution of humanity, would magically catalyze certain ideas, and then from other people those things will come through. It was like, I don't need to say it, somebody else will say, and what about this, what if we do this? And I would just nod and laugh and say, that's a great idea, why not? You know what I mean? But for me, that was a teacher, because I needed to get myself to the space when I was able to be silenced instead of having a need to add value by talking and you know what I mean, by being significant on a certain level.
So this is something maybe I'll pivot into, because as you bring it up, it brings this curiosity in me. And I think that so many, especially for myself, this is like more so for a question, like just for my curiosity most. So because when we're listening, right, and we're so self-aware, I mean, we always have new awarenesses coming up, but there's this opportunity of saying, hey, that moment of presence, of being in a room, of being curious, and then just saying, hey, acknowledging the great idea and being taught something as like this curious student of adding value. Is it something that, because of people's vibration, when they tap into this innocence as adults or as business leaders or as entrepreneurs, as coaches, people of extreme extreme influence, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How important is it for those individuals to really be in that innocence of like not needing to actually prove anything? Because I was one of these guys that was very much forcing for a very long time, needing to prove things out
Yeah.
into the world. And
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that actually the more that I just became like super quiet and curious myself, that the more that it just started to happen. And so we started listening to that voice
Mm-hmm.
from everybody else. And this is what I'm hearing actually in your experience, is that you became that that change maker without actually needing to do anything.
Exactly, exactly. And it is amazing because people do feel energy. Sometimes when you work with businesses and people who are driven, or the CEOs or the cryptocurrency startup leaders or small business incubator leaders, they're quite driven, and we assume that they don't understand frequency and energy. But what I understood from my work within business that we're using as example, that a lot of these leaders do use intuition to make decisions and choices. Sometimes when I ask these leaders, how did you make decision to make this investment? Besides numbers, they will tell you it was my gut feeling, it was my intuition. Something told me I need to do that, right? So they're awakened and aware. And they feel the energy. And when you're in the room, they would sense it and they would feel it. And maybe they will tell you, oh, this is such an interesting thing. You're not saying much, but you're adding value. I cannot quantify how do you add value, but you do add value. Or they might, for me, my situation was get me on the coffee break, around the coffee or tea, and ask me questions, become more curious. And it works like that. The energy is contagious. For me, the important piece here is that I was, for myself, very clear to what is my purpose in this space. And my purpose in that space was, at that time, evolution of business. It was always, what can I do within the context of this meeting to get people to the next level so we can shift into the new paradigm of business, which is exactly what I wanted to see as part of my reality creation.
And that's why that's why you're showing up the way you are. It's very beautiful because we really understand this at a deeper sense of, hey, we're creating a reality. This is
Yeah,
what we're putting ourselves in. At the end of the day, it really, all it matters is what you believe in yourself. I know
exactly.
we're so focused on this external kind of validation. It's really beautiful to not need that external mirror anymore, but knowing that it's coming from such a deeper place, and then like just recognizing it within. So I really commend that, bro. So tell me, um now that you're really spending a lot of time with business leaders, you're really being able to tap into that transformation, holding space and being present, and really giving these unique approaches of evolutionary coaching. What does that look
Mm-hmm.
like for individuals that are more curious about it? And you talked about a lot about like asking questions. So how is it, what kind of questions do you feel are quality questions to really tap into maybe somebody that's listening right now that
Mm-hmm.
may be completely unaware, doesn't feel like they really are tapping into their own leadership yet, but they
Mm-hmm.
have that curiosity somewhat. So, what kind of a question would you ask somebody that's extremely new,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to, dive deeper, or, excited about kind of where our ideas could evolve from, so that they can also bring their own ideas to the table?
Yeah, of course. The questions that I usually ask for people to initiate is, what do you feel passionate about?
Mm,
What makes your heart sing? What do you really care about? What do you value in your life? What matters? What is important to you? How can you create the life that really is the ideal life that you dream or aspire to achieve? What is your contribution to life? What do you come here to give? I mean, sometimes even in the most rigid environments with some close business leaders who are, completely, within the matrix of the business and they don't think bigger thoughts, I would challenge that. I would ask, what is your contribution? What is your gift? What are you here to give? Not what are you here to take? What you can gain out of this relationship? How much money can you make? How much networking can you receive? But what are you here to give? So when you start asking these questions to people, they begin tapping into their deeper purpose. And when they begin activating that deeper purpose, then they begin wiring differently because they come into the space of, okay, life, it's the bigger game. It's life is more magical than I thought it is. Life has a deeper meaning. I have a deeper purpose. I am unique. I'm special. I am somebody who is here and who is significant, because my core belief where I come from is that each and every individual, but I literally mean each and every individual on this planet right now, has a specific unique contribution to give in the puzzle of collective consciousness. So if you think about collective and you see it as a mosaic of all of us, all our faces and our energy and who we are, and I work as a cleaner, you work as a coach, somebody is a CEO, somebody is like a mechanic fixes the car, and somebody is something else. We all have unique thing to give in our service to others. And that unique things comes from that core passion, what I really feel and enjoy doing. So when you ask those questions, people do activate, and they love it because nobody asks them this.
And it starts to get them to dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. When as you're saying the questions, asking myself like, hey, what's the next stage? What's the most exciting part? How can we continue to grow? What's this it creates a lot of curiosity, and it brings out what, as you were saying, it brings out more of that innocence in me.
Yeah. Exactly. And when it brings more innocence in you, then what I love about coaching as a discipline, and this is something that that's my core competence, so to say, is that in coaching, then we make it very practical. So from this dreaming or the bigger picture, bigger vision, what needs to be created and how it needs to be created and what makes your heart sing and what is your contribution, then you look into your life and then you see, okay, so how do I then translate this into my life? So how do I show up in my life? Am I running a business? Am I a corporate employee? Am I professional? Am I artist? Do I need to change my career? What do I need to do to embody that deeper meaning of my life in my everyday life? And I've seen this again and again and again through my coaching. When people begin doing that embodiment of their deeper purpose to their creative expression, then the abundance flows, the opportunity flow, the money flows, they're in flow of life, the things are opening up, it becomes much more creational. And whatever it's not aligned, it needs to be addressed, like traumas and different negative beliefs and thoughts, things that you need to transform will show up. And they will tell you, yes, Zoran, you want to do this, but you need to first resolve that, right? This is your obstacle. You need to work on that one. And when you do that, then this will show up. And then again, coaching becomes very practical because when you look into this and resolve it, we move on and so on and so forth. So
actually, I'm taking, as you're saying this, I'm really reflecting back at our conversation when we went for coffee in Ibiza. And, I was still in that very artistic part of myself, of still like discovering how am I going to apply all of this like stuff into the world. And I remember you saying like, hey, maybe just like leave the island for a bit, take a break, like let's go, like you'll ground some really great ideas. And that's when I went to Dubai, and it was really like, I think that conversation was a pivotal moment for me, just us kind of hanging together and having that coffee, and you saying, hey bro, you can, you've got this energy, just go put it out there. And it really was a meaningful moment for me. And I think, because I felt seen, heard, and understood by you, which is really, I think for anybody, when whenever I think when you're in a coaching atmosphere, um, being able to feel heard and feel like understood, and then offered some sort of like really great advice, which I think
Mm.
you're amazing at, Zoran, is always this wisdom that you bring to the table, whenever we would connect. So to me, I just want to say for that
Oh,
moment,
well, thank you.
you gave
I'm
me a lot
so
of like,
happy.
yeah, it was
Beautiful.
really
Thank you so
meaningful.
much for that.
For sure, brother. So tell me about the current circumstances of what you see right now happening, in the world, and how does that match to what you would like your vision, because I was
Mhm.
having actually a conversation yesterday with my parents regarding a lot of the things that, are happening, with the financial markets, with regards to the World Economic Forum, with regards
Mhm.
to just a lot of the different things that, the discovery of truth. And
Mhm.
I think that you and me reflect a very beautiful part of what truth is. And we reflect back to each other
Mhm.
the seeking of truth. And this is what I really see in you, is that you're always looking to find the truth, not just in other people, but in like the evolution of the wholeness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tapping now into like a deeper perspective or a more global kind of
Mhm.
change. What do you see? Yeah, I know it's like I felt like, yeah, this is a big subject, but I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a big question, of course.
yeah.
What am I
So
saying? Yeah.
what do you
Mm.
see like that we can collectively do, or where can we start to start asking better questions about what has been hidden from us for such a long
Mm.
time?
Mhm. Well, listen, in my life journey, because I have such a curious personality,
Mm-hmm.
and I was also always curious about the truth and about the truth, and looking into this, I went many different places in making sense, making exactly what's going on. And this is such a kind of challenging and big topic right now. But where I am currently myself, I am extremely optimistic in this in people tend to get worried about the state of affair of the world, specifically about financial system and crypto market, and then the war, and then transformation of this, and the shortages in food, and all of this. It's basically our reality right now, and I feel that reality is co-created with the purpose of us awakening into something that we really, really want to see. And I can tell you this from a perspective of coaching and habitual behaviors. For some reason, somehow, we are creatures of habits. We as human beings, we love safety, we love security, we love habitual behavior. If you were to be an extraterrestrial, start being, and you observe one life of one individual, you will see that he goes to the same coffee shop, buys the same products, hangs with same people, watches the same shows, doing this, doing that. We're very predictable, right? So we love habits, and we also love to be in the comfort zones because we love chilling and we love eating ice cream. And I was laughing the other day. I saw the new brand of ice cream, Chill and Netflix. That my son brought it to us. Like, look at this ice cream. It's Chill and Netflix. I was like, oh my god, it's the ultimate indulgence. Eating ice cream and chilling and watching Netflix. It's a beautiful habit. So we are habitual like that. You know what I mean? And we keep on repeating the same behavior. We're very predictable. Many teachers, like Joe Dispenza as well, talks about it. That it's predictable past. The familiar past creates predictable future. So sometimes the certain things have to happen for us to initiate. Using the language like waking up, it's sometimes too strong for people, but I call it initiation. We need to see certain things in our life. We need to feel certain challenges and obstacles for us to be able to say, okay, I need to wake up and really see what's going on. And I see this, what is going on in on the global stage right now. It's the big awakening for us getting out of this habitual collective trance that we have been for a very long time, into initiating and seeing the reality as it is, and then choosing what do we really want to co-create. But in order for us to choose what we really want to create, we have to see what it is. And what is, as I mentioned, for the business, for example, has been a practice of exploitation, of putting profits against people, against planet. It has been money, greed. That's one frequency. In relationship, it was, me, my needs, me, instead of us, and another frequency. So there's a lot of things that is going on that we have to transform, but we can't do them if we don't see them, and we need to see them. So what's going on in the world right now, we need to see. But the challenge and magic of all of this is not to buy into the fear and not to be frightened by, what will happen if the whole system collapses right now, and how are we going to do this and how are we going to do that? That's not constructive, that's not creative. But what we need to do is see it for what it is, and then we choose, what do we want to create? What do we really want to see? And we put our energy and attention in exactly that. And for me personally, that's my practice. When I see something that is really worrying me, like the news will come, or this will come, or that will come, I would be like, oh my God, another thing going on. I would stop, I would breathe, I would presence myself, I would connect to that bigger picture, and I would say, okay, where do I want to put my energy right now? What do I want to create? What is the light that I want to see? And if we all keep on doing that, we will be awakened into reality that we want to co-create together. Yeah? Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think that as you're saying it, I'm recognizing how many of us are not stuck, but listening to, because Gary Vee, he says something really beautiful. It's like, the people that focused on the fear of those are not leaders, those are tyrants, those are, but the real leaders are the ones that empower us all to really, co-create and come together and really come. And it's obviously not in that quote, but that's the premise of it. And to me, this really resonates, because I think that, for so long, whether it was like going to community meetings, or like if in the past, when I was a kid, my parents took me to church or things like this, I would hear the fear that like was trying to be communicated, and it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. And I remember rebelling at such a like screaming and, upset nature, because I knew that my soul was like, this is wrong. And I think that was like a way of me acting out personally. And it was a way for me to like really escape that trance, let's call it.
Yeah.
And to this was really a beautiful, now looking back, I realized like what I was trying to escape. It was like all of these like illusions of separation, of not allowing things to come in as they are. So do you feel like this, part of the financial market, the COVID, or the wars that have happened, not just this, the war now, but also the ones, that have happened in history, have all been like cries of acting out, of society to really say, hey, pay attention, people, wake, initiate. Let's initiate. And we've been so blind to these regular patterns and cycles associating itself. And so now it's like, hey, we're finally maybe starting to listen as you did in the boardroom, right? Like to the rest. But now it's like at a collective level.
I do. I think that this is the crying out for humanity to wake up. And for some reason, even though this has been said many times in the past, I personally feel that we are at the end of the cycle. I feel that now this is the final cycle of awakening. And I think the last 3 years were orchestrated for us to be able to awaken into reality that we don't want, and into reality that we want. Because if you just look at the financial system, for example, it doesn't serve everybody. It's beyond serving everybody. I mean, I don't want to get all Marxist and communistic around this, because people might think, okay, he has Marxist idea, but the very fact is that this system is serving few extremely wealthy people, and the majority of people are, suffering and struggling. So why we would have the system that serves that? So it's much better for that system to collapse, to implode, to evolve, and for us to get into the new economic system that serves everybody, so we can all be in abundance, because we're all significant, we're all special. So if I'm in abundance, you should be in abundance, everybody else should be in abundance. And then people say, but then who is going to clean the house? And I'm never going to forget them. If people say, but yeah, it's everybody's abundance, who is going to clean the house? And I always remember Vera, my cleaner, and I was studying coaching. I was a very young coach. I was studying coaching, and they told me, you need to practice coaching with somebody else. So she was my cleaner. I was living by myself. So I decided she's going to be my guinea pig. I'm going to practice coaching with her. So she was coming and cleaning my house. She had the headset and she was very happy in cleaning. And I was like, oh, Vera, can I coach you? Can I coach you? She said, yeah, coach me. So I was trying to coach her to quit cleaning and to do something else. Mm-hmm. Because for me, her job was not good enough. She could do something else. She's a cleaner. I mean, she can be, I don't know, artist, musician, manager. She can make much more money. And I directed all my coaching energy in coaching her to be something else, until one day came up and she said, Zoran, stop coaching me. I love what I do. I love it. Listen, I listen to the music all day long. I'm visiting other people's houses. I am very physical and very dynamic. I love clearing the space. I love things being in the order. And for me, this is my ideal job. I would do this even if people are paying me nothing. This is who I am. I love cleaning. And I was like, oh my God, she loves, what I mean? She loves cleaning. So when people say, what will happen if the, financial system changes, we're not going to have cleaners or, people in support systems. It's not true. There are people who actually enjoys doing that. So there is always something for everybody else. So what that says to us is that we need to transform the systems to be at service to everybody else. We can't be in the system any longer that is benefiting few, And for me, that's the good thing. So when people are talking about now the financial system is going to collapse, right? If it's meant to collapse to serve everybody else, bring it on.
Exactly.
Bring it on, right?
Exactly. I think, it's a beautiful perspective, because we get so stuck in our own maps of the world, our own point of views, that we actually don't take on somebody else's. And how many times does this happen? I mean, we're living in so many different a multiverse full of different universes, and each person's universe is so beautiful to their own, story, right?
Exactly.
And so because of our own opinions or our own decisions, we're like, we try to project onto other people our belief systems. And this is like, it's so beautiful what you just shared, because she's like, no, like, I don't want your system. I want mine, and
exactly. I want mine. I'm very happy. Actually, I'm happier than you, because you sit in the office. At that time, I was in corporate job. She was saying, you sit in the office for 9 hours. You're really stressed out. Look at me. I'm like, hee. I'm cleaning and having fun and listening to my own music and getting paid well. Leave me alone. It's just like, what I mean? It was just big aha moment, because people are teaching, and that was epiphany, so to say, for me. Yeah.
This really says too, is like how much of everybody around us is really teaching. It really became your teacher in that moment. As much as you were trying to teach, she was also teaching you. And this is something that I think that so many of us, we forget to actually pay attention to, is saying, hey, we're actually co-teaching and co-learning, and this is a beautiful mirror.
Yeah.
Bro, so you talked about this awareness.
So just to sum it up, Eric, before you leave, I think that my message to your audience and people who are listening right now, be positive. Don't buy into a scarcity mentality of, what some people call the fear porn. And I think that fear porn expression is a good expression, because it keeps on showing up in our life all the time, and it's very negative and toxic energy. Don't buy into that. Whenever that comes your way, that what is going to be happening right now, presence yourself, connect yourself, look around you. You're in a good space right now. You have shelter, you have light, you have food, you have friends, and then choose to focus your energy to what you really want to see. Because as a collective, Eric, you know this really well. If enough of us choose to co-create the reality that we want to see, which is the reality of unconditional love, the positivity, the abundance from all, the new business or flourishing and enabling everybody to live happy and be creative. If we all focus enough energy in our collective, that will show up as reality because we're all co-creating together. So each and every individual is important. How we think at this moment is super important. So choose to be positive at this time. Don't choose to be afraid, negative, or to cocoon and be like, oh, tensing or, worrying about your life.
Yeah. I don't think so many people realize that even just choosing the thoughts actually helps the collective because it creates an energy.
Correct. Yes.
Do you feel so you know how this story, right? Of the past, let's call it 200, 300 years have been built off of a very different kind of capitalistic societal construct.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we can talk about the light and the dark, or the greed versus the, the creation, and how do you see, because I'm very curious about this, in my own philosophy of understanding, how do you see that this, darkness, or this need of like, and maybe it's not dark, maybe to me it's dark, I don't know, this is something that also so the way that it was constructed about creating this capitalistic of the haves and the have-nots, it for me, it's like, wasn't there enough of a contrast of the light of wanting to contribute and say, hey, I don't think that this is right? Like, is that not same power of what was created with this kind of like need to ground this money system, not counterbalanced enough in the past when they were creating it, the other side, right? It's called the light, like the light side of saying, hey, like, what are we going to do? Why do you feel that we didn't have that back then? Or do we have back that then and they just been more patient? Like, what do you feel, how come that wasn't counterbalanced to 300
what happened?
What happened?
Yeah. There's this wonderful book that I read a long time ago. It was called Dear God, What's Happening to Us? I was flying at the airport and this book jumps off the scale. It says, Dear God, what's happening to us? And this is exactly what a lot of people are thinking about. Dear God, what's happening to us? For me, in my research, I was really looking into that question. And this is a very challenging question to answer because, it requires you to explore different perspectives and then find the perspective that you really resonate with, and find that perspective that really feels right in your soul. It's not only the perspective that makes sense, but also feels right. And through my research, what I found out is that there is this cycle of the human evolution that is labeled as 26,000 year cycle. And in this 26,000 year cycles, there is a dance between the light and the dark. And in one 26,000 year cycle, the light prevails, so to say, and it becomes harmony, joy, unconditional love, beauty, artistry. Everybody is happy and, just enjoying their existence to the full extent. And then something happens in the universe. It goes in a different cycle, 26,000 years, when this shadow aspect of ourselves takes over, and it's exploration of fear and anxiety and luck and challenges and difficulties and greed and everything that we see. So, and then the cycle stops again, and then the light comes again and rebalances again. But in those cycles of fear and luck, there is a profound learning. There is a profound learning. So that's one of the myths. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'm just saying what I feel right for me, because there are many takes on this. This myth of this cycles of light and shadow interplaying together and taking over and then rebalancing, and then the other one takes over for the sake of the growth, the learning, for the sake of us being able to experience everything. It's in the game. And if we begin seeing it as game instead of just reality, and we're able to play that game, so I now know that I'm in that cycle, and this is my reality around me, this is the matrix I'm experiencing, how am I going to play that game? You know, if I have this awareness, if I know that this is what's going on, and how am I going to play my game when I get into the cycle of love, harmony, and joy? And what I'm feeling right now, this is what I said before, we are now ending that cycle of what we've seen in the last 26,000 years on this planet, and stepping into the new cycle, which is going to be all about unity consciousness, harmony, unconditional love, abundance, and then you're going to experience all of that. So that's the one reason, one way how I can explain how I feel it. And it is painful sometimes to look into it and ask the question, where is the light? You know, in this darkness right now, we know light is stronger. We know that our love conquers it all. We know the unconditional love is the most important and most powerful force we have available in this universe, in multiverse. And where is it? You know, sometimes you look around and say, where is it? But maybe for us to learn a little bit of that game and to kind of get challenged a little bit and, you know, beaten up a little bit and, you know, kicked in, and to feel the life in a different way, and, you know, to struggle, maybe that was necessary. Yeah.
This is very resonant with what I'm reading. I got this from my sensei the other day. It's called The Art of Peace, from sensei from Aikido. And he wrote this book back when, but he talks about this ability to stand where you're standing right now and recognize that actually all of it is perfect. Recognize that everything that happened up until this moment is perfect. And this is where you will find peace, in this current state, in this current moment. And so I think this is, I mean, as you're sharing it and you're sharing the 26,000 and you know, people can get so stuck in their heads, and you know, myself especially sometimes, I hear, you know, this beautiful presence of like, just be peaceful right now. And you can create the peace. You can walk into a space and you can create the peace as long as you create it within yourself. And so this is something that I'm really excited about, because we co-create this peace, right? As being aware of, hey, we're able to say, you know, like, it all happened, it's all gracious, it's all beautiful. And where are we today? We're here because of it all. So
exactly,
that is an amazing kind of like realization for me right now as you say it. And it's funny how all these synchronicities happen, because I literally just got this book yesterday. So it's
fantastic. Like, yeah. Beautiful. You know, we love synchronicities, don't we?
Right. It's all magic. And so bro, I would love to know if, you know, what you're currently feeling, what's present for you. If anybody wants to understand more about how you are, you know, really bringing your awareness to people that want to learn more, because I understand that you're also helping people become coaches themselves, right? Share a little bit about how that looks like for anybody that's maybe more curious about kind of the practical side of themselves, being their awareness, and how they can learn more from you or and your team.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, one of the things that I love about coaching, and I think whoever it's listening to this who's curious about coaching, is that coaching is a perfect container of learning methodology that really works for people, because it's action oriented and it's being and awareness oriented, and then adding your own spice, adding your own delicious presence. And I've seen many coaches that we train, you know, they come into the coaching, they're healer, practitioners, business owners, you know, corporate employees, and they want to learn more about how to coach themselves, you know, how to balance their thoughts, how to balance their feelings, how to have a powerful action in their life. And they want to learn that, but then also they want to learn how to coach others. And then it becomes a beautiful container for people to express their creativity. The methodology that I offer through tnmcoaching.com, it's evolutionary coaching principle, and evolutionary coaching has a specific methodology which is attached to the one core principle, which is we see people as extraordinary human beings with contributions to make instead of small people with problems to solve. So when we coach anybody, how we teach coaching is that you relate to somebody else as extraordinary creator instead of somebody who comes to you with a problem and you have to solve their problem. So you shift it up. Because if you relate to somebody small like that, oh, the poor Manamu, he has a little problem and I'm going to fix him. You can fix, of course, but you hold them within that container and they have more problems and more problems and more dramas and more Netflix and one more Netflix, and it goes like that. But if you hold people, he is an extraordinary human being. He has a specific contribution to make. My job as a coach is to activate this inside of him. And here's the practice behind it. Then you can coach in completely different levels. So that's the kind of, in one line, the premises of evolutionary coaching. We have 3 levels: foundation, advanced, and master. And you can, find out more at tnmcoaching.com. And then you go to the TNM Coaching Academy and all the programs are there. We have certified the programs with International Coach Federation because some people love having certificates. I believe and don't believe in that. I think quality is important, but I think certificate is not the most important thing in your life. But I want to say that the programs are certified, so you can show your wonderful diploma and be qualified to work as a coach. And it's a beautiful journey, becoming a coach. It's really, really beautiful journey because it's interdevelopmental. You work with yourself and then you work with others. Yeah. So you grow yourself to grow others. You understand that whoever shows in your life, like if Eric was to show up in my life on a coaching session, he would grow me as much as I'm growing him. Exactly. The only difference is I'm in charge with the coaching process. So I'm navigating the process. Like Eric is now holding the container for the podcast. He's asking questions and holding container and navigating the process. But I'm learning from him and he's learning from me. We're inspiring each other. So that's the beauty of coaching. You always are humbled enough to understand it's interdevelopmental. You grow together and you learn how to hold the process. And then you learn core coaching skills and competencies so you can then navigate the process in a very good way. Yeah.
I love how you say this developmental, because then you can apply that to every conversation you have in your life. And I think this is the most beautiful part, is like when you realize that these processes are actually not just part of you getting your qualification or your mastery, but it's actually your part of your living life. And this is such an important process that I think anybody that's listening should really take up, especially, coming from Zoran and his team. This is, as you can see, the men's very, very well versed and really aware of what can help us as a society as a whole, and us as individuals. So bro, I really appreciate you for coming on the show. It really is an honor. It's always great. I love connecting with you. I have a final question before we finish though. If you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
Oh my God, wow. I love this question. If I had 3 days to live, what would I do right now, at this moment in time, right now?
Yeah.
Only one thing, not 2. Only one.
Whatever you want. You have 3 days left to live. Whatever you want. Yeah.
I would connect to all the people that I love and tell them how much I love them. That would be a first thing, 100%. And I would ask for divine spirit and God to help me activate all my superhuman powers that I know that I have inside of myself, but they're still dormant, and see what happens.
Yeah. I love it, brother.
I love you too, Eric. This was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for holding such a beautiful conversational space. I've really, really enjoyed, and I really hope your audience is going to benefit from us sharing with each other. And, I love you a lot. You're a really beautiful, amazing soul, and thank you.
Likewise, my friend. I always say, we can only see in each other what we found in ourselves. So Likewise, the same as I receive, and I also just want to reflect back. That's all. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you, man. You're a great soul, and I just thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Blessings, brother.
Hey, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to The Resilient Minds. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please make sure to go comment and like and follow us on iTunes or Spotify. And please make sure that if you really love this, to share this episode. And make sure that you're inviting all your friends to like it as we continue to unfold what the beauty of our minds does. More importantly, how powerful our heart level of intelligence can be when we combine our heart and our brain together. And more importantly, check out the alignment course that I've created. It's seriously there for you to take advantage of at www.ericbalance.com/alignment. See you on the next show.